Now let's look at the first component of CR, which is the actual reading of the book. So have your students take out their CR book, and from AprilGate, you want to click on this button that says ebook. And when you do, it'll open up your default browser and load this page. Now, the first thing we want to do is click on the button I just pressed. It's this pause button right up here. And you want to pause the autoplay. If you don't do that, then it'll just continue to play this whole page and then start reading the next page as well. So that's the first thing you want to do, just pause it. Next, you want to use this cover page to discuss many different things. For example, you can use this illustration to predict what the book will be about. Just like we do during the reading passage component in our textbook. So you can ask questions like, who do you see on the cover? What kind of relationship do you think they have? Remember, they've been learning about relationships. What do you think will happen to them in the story? And so on. So afterwards, what you want to do is go over the title, the author, the illustrator, and you can do this by switching from the auto mode to page mode, and then you hit play. So let's do that. So page mode, and then I'm going to hit this play button here.
Friends. Story by Mary E. Furlong. Illustrations by Sheila Bailey.
And once you're ready, you can click on the arrow button at the bottom right to move on to the next page. So let's just go over the technical aspect of the page so far. So I'm going to close it for now. So let's try that again. You press the ebook button. And then you want to pause right away. And then afterwards, you want to hit page mode, and then hit play again.
Friends. Story by Mary E. Furlong. Illustrations by Sheila Bailey.
And once you're ready, you can press the arrow button on the bottom right to move on to the next page. So when you hit this arrow button to go to the next page, it'll start reading right away, so make sure your students are paying attention.
Maria Perez and Mrs. Duff were good friends. They used to live next door to each other. The two saw each other almost every day.
So have the students listen to the whole page, and if you are teaching the seed level students, they must listen and repeat the whole page line by line or sentence by sentence. You don't have to do that with your sprout and sapling students, especially if you feel like you won't have enough time. So use your discretion. So if you feel like your students need some extra practice speaking, then you can have them read a few sentences out loud and then listen to the rest. Or if you feel like your students are not paying attention, then you can play the popcorn game, where you have one student read a paragraph and then that student pops or chooses the student who will read the next paragraph. You could also play the stop game, which can be kind of popular with the sapling students. So this is where you have one student start reading out loud, and then when he or she makes a mistake, another student can shout stop, and then that student takes over reading. So there are many ways to listen or read this page. Just be mindful of the time, because Sprout and Sapling CR books can be a bit long, and you still need to cover the other components. And then remember, in Seed, after listening to this page, they must listen and repeat everything sentence by sentence. So after reading the page, you can ask some comprehension questions to see if your students understood the page. So there are some questions provided for you on the teacher's guide, as you can see here. So you can use them, and you can also maybe add a few extra questions of your own as well. So after that, you can move on to the next page by clicking on the arrow at the bottom again, and then you repeat the same steps again for the assigned pages. Be careful not to read everything on the odd weeks though. So remember, you're only reading half of the book and then reading the second half next week. So check the teacher's guide to see which pages you should cover that week. For example, if you look at this week's teacher's guide, We're only covering up to page 10, so that's what we're going to do. So you should take about the half of the CR class, so about 20 minutes, and that's how you can read the CR books with your students.